While everybody's talking about Texas and Florida, North Carolina pulled in over $24 billion in new investment in just 1 year. I've watched it happen right here from my front porch in Winston-Salem. And this isn't some flash in the pan, but most people still have no idea where that money is going or what it's changing. So by the end of this video, you'll know where the smart money is moving and whether you're still early or already late to the party. Drive down I-40 on a Saturday and start counting the moving trucks heading into North Carolina, and I promise you'll lose track pretty fast. Last year, North Carolina ranked as the #1 state in the country for domestic migration. More people packed up and moved here from another state than anywhere else in America. That's not a marketing slogan. That's the Census Bureau telling us that when people had the freedom to choose where they wanted to live next, North Carolina came out on top. And the growth is no joke. The state added about 146,000 new residents in a single year, pushing the population past 11 million. Only South Carolina and Idaho grew faster by percentage, but neither one is operating at our scale. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. South Carolina has been giving us a run for our money. It's a little cheaper in some areas, and they're attracting plenty of commercial attention. But when you look at the total number of people moving in, only Texas and Florida added more residents than North Carolina. Think about that for a second. Texas, Florida, North Carolina. That's the company we're keeping now. Hang tight, because when we get into the housing later, I'm going to show you a price gap that catches a lot of people by surprise. Now, this isn't some one-year spike. Since 2020, North Carolina has gained nearly 477,000 new residents through domestic migration alone, trailing only Texas and Florida. Some of that first wave came from remote workers, no question. People realized they could work from anywhere, and in North Carolina looked pretty darn attractive compared to what they were paying up north or out west. But the momentum today is being driven by something much bigger. The business community sees it too. CNBC named North Carolina the top state for business for the third time in 4 years, looking at things like workforce quality, economic strength, and quality of life. Then another organization, using a completely different set of measurements, came to the same conclusion and named North Carolina its state of the year for economic development. New investment projects landed in 56 of the state's 100 counties. One ranking measured perception, the other measured results. Both landed in the same place. And the real draw isn't the weather. It isn't the barbecue, which is delicious. It's the companies choosing to invest here. Quick note before we continue, if you're thinking about moving to North Carolina, that's what I help people do every day right here in the Triad. If you want to talk through your options and figure out which area might fit you in all of North Carolina the best, my contact information is down in the description below. All right, enough selling. Let's get back to it. Companies don't make billion-dollar decisions on a whim, and North Carolina has been landing those commitments at a pace very few states can match. Let's start in Holly Springs, just south of Raleigh. What's happening there is pretty incredible. The town has turned into one of the most important pharmaceutical manufacturing hubs in the country. Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies, I'm sure I butchered that, invested more than $1 billion into what is now one of the largest biopharmaceutical facilities in North America. And they weren't alone. Amgen committed roughly another $1 billion for a facility nearby. Then, Ginther, one of the biggest biotech companies in the world, picked Holly Springs for its East Coast plant and later expanded that investment to around $2 billion. Think about that for a second. Multiple pharmaceutical giants all choosing the same area independently. That doesn't happen by accident. The talent was already here. The research infrastructure was already here. The foundation had been built long before the headlines showed up. Keep those companies in mind, because later I'll show you why that matters so much when people start asking whether this growth can last. Johnson & Johnson added another $2 billion facility as part of its larger expansion plans. Then east of the triangle, Novo Nordisk, the company behind Ozempic and Wegovy, committed $4.1 billion to a second manufacturing campus in Johnson County. At the time, it was the largest life science investment North Carolina had ever seen. It's expected to create around 1,000 jobs as the project rolls out over time. When it comes to tech, Amazon announced a $10 billion cloud and AI campus in Richmond County, which was the largest capital investment project in state history when it was announced. See, data centers aren't the kind of project companies build and then walk away from in a few years. These are long-term commitments. But the project that gets me the most excited is right here in the Triad. JetZero, an aerospace company developing a new generation of fuel-efficient aircraft, chose Greensboro for its first U.S. manufacturing facility. It's expected to create more than 14,500 jobs over the coming years and has been called the largest job commitment in North Carolina history. See, those are the kind of jobs that can support a regional economy for decades. And this isn't some future announcement sitting on a drawing board. JetZero broke ground in June of 2026. It's happening right now, just a short drive from where I am sitting. At the end of the day, when companies make investments at this scale, they're planning years ahead. The engineers come, the scientists come, the manufacturing workers come, the logistics team come. Every one of these people needs a place to live, and so the jobs come first and the housing follows. That's just how it works. What does this mean for the housing market? Walk into the market today and it feels a whole lot different than it did 2 years ago. The bidding wars have cooled off. The love letters to sellers are mostly gone, although I did have a buyer write one the other day and it worked. And for the first time in a while, buyers can take a breath. Inventory has climbed across North Carolina. So you've got more options you didn't have when people were waiving inspections just to win a house. See, homes are sitting just a little bit longer, and some sellers are trimming their asking prices. Underneath that calmer market, the pressure is still building. Every one of those corporate investments sets off the same chain reaction. New employees move in, existing homeowners move up, investors start getting in front of demand they can already see coming. Across North Carolina, home values are generally sitting in the mid to upper 300s, depending on the source, and either way, we're still more affordable than comparable markets up and down the East Coast. Here in the Triad, Winston-Salem is the 5th largest city in North Carolina and part of a metro of around 1.7 million people alongside Greensboro and High Point. Homes are generally landing in the upper 2s to low 3s, with prices moving up a little bit over the last year. See, that range is pretty wide because the housing stock is too. You've got everything from craftsman bungalows under mature trees to brand new subdivisions out near the bypass. Now, compare the Triad to Charlotte and Raleigh, where similar suburban homes often start in the mid-4s and climb way up from there. We're running roughly 20 to 30% less for similar square footage. And that gap gets harder to ignore every month JetZero keeps pouring concrete at the airport. Want to be closer to all that biotech growth around Holly Springs? Well, you'll pay more for it. See, homes there generally run in the high 500s to low 600s, more than the Triad for sure, but still incredibly competitive compared to biotech markets in the Northeast or California. See, if I were in your shoes and needed my budget to stretch, obviously I'd be taking a hard look at the Triad, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, or High Point right now. See, the Triad sits right in the middle of the growth story. The jobs are heading this way, and there's still room to get ahead of some appreciation. What's bringing people here is opportunity, and opportunity like this tends to build on itself. The window is wide open right now, but the foundation is absolutely being poured across the state, and that tells me, well, it won't stay open forever. The only question left is whether a run like this can last. Let me put that one to rest. Why is this different from any other typical boom? Every boomtown has the same story. One industry takes off, the whole place grows around it, and the moment that industry stumbles, everything slows down. North Carolina is built differently. The growth here is spread across pharmaceutical manufacturing, an Amazon AI campus, next generation aerospace, advanced manufacturing financial services, and one of the strongest, research ecosystems in the country. No single company drives the economy, and no single industry can derail it. And the results back that up. North Carolina's economy has grown every year since the pandemic, with another year of expansion expected this year. And that's the kind of steady growth that creates lasting housing demand, not the kind that disappears when conditions get tougher. The piece that stands out to me is the workforce. Research Triangle Park alone is home to hundreds of companies and tens of thousands of employees, with billions of dollars in research happening every year. UNC, NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, and dozens of other schools keep producing the engineers, scientists, and healthcare professionals those companies need. That's why they keep expanding here. Lower taxes? Yeah, that helps too. North Carolina has the lowest corporate income tax in the country among states that still have one, and it's scheduled to reach 0 by 2030. Pair that with a low cost of doing business, and it's easy to see why companies keep choosing this state. This isn't just a Charlotte or Raleigh thing. Around 84 of North Carolina's 100 counties grew over the past year. Rural communities, suburbs, mid-sized cities like Winston-Salem, growth is showing up all across the map. And at the end of the day, North Carolina didn't stumble into this. The universities, the workforce, the location, and the business climates were already here. The rest of the country is just starting to notice. And that's what gives people paying attention a head start. States don't reinvest themselves like this very often. You're watching it happen in real time, which means you'll still get to decide whether you're early or late. If you want to know where the biggest opportunities are in Winston-Salem, across the Triad, or frankly, across all of North Carolina, before the rest of the market catches up, email me at sales@theginthergroup.com today. Let's talk about all of your options. But no move is perfect, and North Carolina has its share of challenges too. The video I've linked next breaks down 8 things people maybe don't love about living here, including one that catches a lot of newcomers completely off guard. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching this one.